this morning really early and my jaw was all swelled up. Someday I'm going to make it to the dentist.
You think it's a tooth thing or?
Well, they're all broke off inside and they're still there. So I get infections going on and I got to, last night I noticed it was hurting and Robin made some witch brew stuff. My jaw was all swelled up. Someday I'm going to make it to the dentist.
You think it's a tooth thing or? All right, this is weird.
Well, they're all broke off. That was weird.
That was weird. We're live, but what happened is it kicked me out of what we normally see. And when I went, it doesn't matter. But anyways, here we are.
Yeah, last night, matter of fact, I was watching you and Smarty. I had a few minutes, so I clicked on you guys. It's always nice to see your beautiful smiling faces. Smarty's awesome. But Robin made this witch's brew. I don't know what you call it. She calls it fire or something or other. She throws all these vegetables and garlic and just all kinds of stuff and vinegar in there. And I was like, well, that stuff will help my toothache. So I tried some and then I went to sleep. But when I woke up, my jaw was all swelled up. So I did the hydrogen peroxide thing and all that. But
yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why I'm sharing all that.
Well, so you're having mouth, your teeth are bothering you.
Yeah, I was first thing when I woke up, my jaw was all swelled up, and I was like, I hope it don't get no worse. I got to go talk with Sue, and I don't want to be mumbling.
That's a bad feeling, though, when you're not right. Yeah. Sorry to hear that. Well, we'll just keep it short today. We'll just talk. People really enjoyed our Saturday video. We were just talking about random stuff, but it was very enthusiastic and I feel like for you had the kind of the weight of the world on you for a while, and now it's maybe lifting a little bit. I mean,
it's still bad.
It's still there. Yeah.
Every day is something else. I went to the library because me and my son moved here, I don't know, quite a few years back. But I put the house in his name. So my health was poor. I thought I was going to kick the bucket. I didn't know he would leave this world before me. So we did that because I wanted, he was mentally disabled. I wanted him to always have a place to live and not pay rent.
Right.
So I'm trying to get the house and the property into my name, back into my name. So I went to the library. And they were like, we can't help you, give you any legal advice whatsoever. But I was like, can you buy my book and order my book for the library? And they were like, no. So I walked out to the car and got him one of my book. And I said, I'm donating my book to you guys then. I said, everybody in the world needs to read this book. And the guy was like, well, thank you. But yeah, if you're watching this show and you've read the book or you have an extra book, please take it to your library. Let's go old school.
Yeah.
Let's give the chance for all Americans to see my book.
Yeah. So this is the book in question, Stolen Identity. All right. Available on Amazon. And it's even got pictures in it. All right. And it's a very quick book to read. Like I say, the content is hard to read, but it's an easy and well-written book. So that's what we always base our, talks on. We assume that people have the story and they've read or, watched the earlier videos so that they already know the story, right?
So anyway, I went to the library. I donated my book. They sent me to the county office next door. I went next door and they were like, I was like, I got all the information. What do I need to do to get my son's house into my name? And they said, there's nothing you can do. You got to go to probate court at the courthouse, fill out the paperwork. You probably need an attorney, blah, blah, blah. So hopefully today after our show, I can go get some legal advice. But I don't know if it's going to be worth it because I was doing some research online and they determine whether they're going to sell the house or what they're going to do. They're going to figure out what to do. So basically, the house goes to the city or the state or whatever it is. And then they decide the house isn't worth much. It's a rundown trailer. We paid $12,000 for the house 8 or 9 years ago. I think, with inflation, the way crazy it is,
Yeah.
I think it might be worth $30,000 as is. But after all is said and done and legal fees in it, I see the county going in there and destroying my son's home that I've lived at for 9 years. And it's all BS. It really is. So to make a long story short, people, when you think you're doing something right, get some legal advice, because I should have put it in my name and then willed it to my son if I passed away or something. It would have saved a lot of headache, because now we're probably going to lose the property, I imagine. Or after it goes to my ex-wife, half of it goes to my, or something. Who knows? There's nothing going to be left. But yeah, it's just all a big bummer. But I got to find out if it's worth my time or not.
Yeah. And especially if you have to hire a lawyer, the legal fees will take up a big chunk of that anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, last time I went to a lawyer, and this was years ago, they want $5,000 just to talk to you.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
that made me
Crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go old school when I'm sharing my book and my story, and I went to the flea market. I go to each stand and say, "Hey, I'm John Kennedy Jr. What do you got to sell me today? You got any memorabilia or whatever?" But I went to the flea market, and this gal, she always says, "Hey, John, how you doing now?" I love going old school and telling people who I am. But I went there this weekend. She said, "John, I got something for you. Check
Oh,
this out."
awesome. Awesome.
See the resemblance? Ain't that cool?
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
I thought that was really cool, and it makes my day because people remember my story and
Yeah.
who I am,
Yeah.
and not like the media where they make you disappear.
Yeah.
But
No, it does
I
make you feel good. Does make you feel good. Go ahead.
I also got in the mail. I got this cool bracelet that this gal gave me.
Oh,
Oh,
really nice.
with this awesome scrapbook. It's huge. Look at that. I'm just going to share it for a second, but somebody loved my daddy because it's full of wonderful pictures in this scrapbook. It just goes on and on and on.
Oh my God.
Somebody sent me this, and there's dates in it from 20, 30 years ago. And Robin pointed something out. My mother was killed in 1975, and the cabal loves putting things out there. So the fake Jackie did a movie, or was doing a movie, in 1978 or 1976. Her replacement was asked to do a movie. Well, the producer of that movie, and it's in here, in the news clipping, it says the producer wanted to do it fiction.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't true.
Right, of course. A lot of the movies are based on truth, like especially science fiction or whatever. They're based on truth, but they say they're fiction because they don't want to
But
put it out there properly.
yeah, that was a cool article.
Yeah.
I want to share. I haven't been to this website. Butterfly Mama on Telegram. She started, this was months ago, but she started a website, and I saw it when she first started. I hadn't had time to check it out, but she sent me these shirts the other day. But last night, in the middle of the night, after I was watching you and Smarty, I went to the website to look at it, and I figured I would share this. She sent me these shirts. They point out the ears, how he stole my identity. Ears are like a fingerprint, but it explains it on her website, www.jfkjr2024.com. And I looked at the website. It's not set up nice. It shares our stories on there. And there's a place you can go buy a t-shirt. But she also sent me these bumper stickers. that are going to go on the truck and the trailer.
Oh my God, I love it.
So, Mama Butterfly, I thank you so very much for trying to share my story and get it out to the world. And I hope it catches on. But awesome bumper sticker. You know, this is my ear as a child. This right here is my ear as a child. I have an earlobe. If you look at all the photos up to the age of 10, I have an earlobe. And then the man that stole my identity had no earlobe. And like I said, ears are like a fingerprint. They will identify twins. They will hold up in a court of law. I don't know why I haven't been hit up by any shyster lawyers, but yeah, so big shout out. I am so bad with names. I can't remember Mama Butterfly's name. I
So
can't.
she's selling the t-shirts and the bumper stickers. So the
I
support.
know I looked, the bumper stickers aren't on there,
Okay.
but she has it all set up where she's explaining the ears. She's sharing videos, um, TikTok, YouTube, things like that.
Yeah.
But she had a link to go buy a t-shirt on there. And I think this was the t-shirt. I didn't click on the links. I couldn't tell you how much they are.
Right.
I
Right.
need to get with her. I haven't talked with her, but somebody PayPal'd me like a week ago, $50 and said, I hope this covers the cost of the t-shirt. And I have no idea what they're talking about. I have $50 in my PayPal from somebody for a t-shirt. I need to send it back to that person. I need to send it to her for a t-shirt. But please don't PayPal me for merchandise, please, because I don't have control of this website. It's a cool
Right.
website.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna look at that after we get off. I didn't know about it, but she, the ear, the graphic with the ears is very like it's eye-catching because you're like, well, what is that? You can clearly see the difference. Just like that picture of you and your dad side by side, you can clearly see the similarity.
Yeah.
Both
And
have-
I'll big shout out to you, Lions, you people that are sending me gifts. With that said, Smarty is my number one. He's the man. You really need to check out his website, his merchandise, and all that. But you people that are sending me books like that scrapbook, like this bracelet, you are so appreciated. It helps so much. It really, really does. I got wonderful books. I haven't had time. Robin loves getting them and taking pictures of all the pictures in there and everything. I haven't had time to look at them. I don't really read them. I'm more of a picture looker. I look at pictures. So that scrapbook is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
The
And then all the books of my mom and my family, I don't read them at all. I don't want to read them because I've lived the truth. I've seen it. I don't want to buy into what somebody's telling me about my mother.
Right. Right. And a lot of that stuff isn't even true, what they have written, but the person that did the scrapbook, you can tell that they spent a lot of time on that. And I was just thinking maybe you should you probably can't take the pictures out because they're probably pretty much set there, but maybe take a photo of each one. You may or may not have other copies of them. But
right. There's some really nice ones in there. And I'm thinking the gal bought it at a yard sale or an auction or something, but
okay.
Somebody really loved my family to do all that and put all that work into it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well,
it really.
I'd be hard pressed to find somebody that didn't love your family. All right. Like someone, I mean, my whole life, I've never heard a negative about your family. There's a lot of questions about what happened, but never a negative comment. They were all like, remember how, you see the video clips, people running around crying when they found out your dad was dead. Like that was a big deal. Big deal. So sad.
It was huge. And now they're hindering us and trying to stop us in so many ways from getting the truth out.
Yeah.
The cabal that are running things, it's huge, but we're going to expose it. Everybody share. Oh, with that said, I ask everybody to share your channel and see your videos. Tomorrow, on Rumble, Kia Pruitt, Dr. Kia Pruitt, 8 o'clock Central Time. She is wonderful. She's like Sue's, so kind and gracious. 8 o'clock on Rumble. I think she still has one YouTube account. She had thousands of followers on YouTube. They made her disappear. She had to start over. But she wanted to share my story again. That's Dr. Kia Pruitt on Rumble. 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Bill on Facebook, Bill Messer on Facebook, Saturday, 8 o'clock Central Time. Also, we're going to do chat with Bill. He's a way cool guy. He's my age. And he's wanting to share my true story too. So,
and so
every little, if everybody can start subscribing to each other's channels. This gal, Cindy, she's got a channel here on YouTube. It's called Rise Together News. She put tears in my eyes. She made a little video and it shares my book and shares a little bit about my life story. And then she made a clip from the movie. We're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. And we are all mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. Yeah. So that's Rise Together News with Cindy. Join her channel, subscribe to these channels, and let's take off. Let's explode the truth.
Right.
You can't get the truth on Fox News. You can't get the truth on CNN, NBC, ABC. These little channels like ours are where you're going to get the truth straight up, and where we can break the chains of the regime that they have put us under.
Right. So those are Eastern time times.
Right.
Saturday and Wednesday Eastern time, 8 p.m. both. Okay, good to know. That's really good to know. So the story is getting out there slowly but surely. That's very good.
And then me and Sue here have been doing Tuesday mornings.
Yeah.
9 my time. That's noon Eastern time, I believe.
I'm on Central Time, so it's 11 Central Time. Yeah. Isn't it weird? Yeah.
I'm in Arizona. I don't like the time change. I figured when I moved to Arizona, I wouldn't have to look and move the clock back or forward anymore. But now that I'm doing little talk shows and stuff, I got to figure it all out in my head.
It's a math problem. It is a math problem.
Yeah. My brain likes easy anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the scrapbook especially. I mean, that is.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah.
That was the first time I really looked at it. Robin had it on the table all opened up. I think she was taking pictures to make a little video or something. Mm-hmm. But the cat couldn't get I put the little cat food on the kitchen table there so the cat jumps up so the dog don't eat it and all that crazy stuff. Yeah, the cat couldn't jump up there because the book was on there. And I opened it up, just like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
I'm going to have to look at it and find some old pictures, but all the pictures are of me. They are, which is.
And, there might be some that you haven't seen before.
And they do bring back old memories. They really do.
Yeah.
I have memories of me sitting in a helicopter and playing with all the switches and gizmos when I was a kid. How many kids get to sit in a presidential helicopter and push buttons, for God's sakes? I had an awesome childhood till they stole it away. I really did.
Yeah.
And then they tried to make me forget with torture who I really was. I never did forget. For people that ask, when did you remember? I always remembered, but the torture was so severe and extreme. I didn't want to remember. And then when you think of, if you do remember and you say something, you could be getting someone else killed by the cabal. So it's a big head trip. You don't want to remember. And that's how I lived my life.
Wow. It's hard to conceive that because, you would slip up. You could slip up and get yourself into trouble. Like then they torture you.
My old girlfriends, sometimes they would put me down, and in my mind, I was being like, I'm John Kennedy. Who do you think you're talking to?
Yeah. Wow.
For an example, I went to, I had this girlfriend. She was older than me. She had a little money, but we went out to dinner and we were sitting there, and there was this gal that worked in Hollywood. She was kind of a soap opera movie star. And she was like, you need to show her some respect. blah, 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 like you're lucky she's even talking to you type of thing. Right. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm John Kennedy. She's lucky she's sitting here with me. So I've had to deal with things like that, but I
Yeah.
keep it all in my own head.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. So you've seen really happier though in the past couple of times. And I think because your story is getting out there, I think the drama with your son has, like, most of it's gone away. Now you have the house drama, which is ugly. But
Yeah, and being hindered on the platforms doesn't help. But Robin's been really supportive, and the support is growing. Even though
yeah,
we are being hindered, it is growing,
yeah,
and it makes my day.
yeah.
It
Well,
does.
we talk every week about the censorship, how, like, okay, so I went onto your video the other night. I don't know what night it was. I can't, there's no heart, there's no thumbs up. Like I can't like it, and I couldn't put a comment there. So it's like I could see the video, but it was like I couldn't participate, you know?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they're, those are little tricky things they're doing. So that's why the views, the view count, the subscriber count, all of those are not, they're not correct. They're lower than they
Well,
really
this is a
are.
good example of
Yeah.
being hindered on YouTube. If I want to research a weapon, or if I see a weapon at a pawn shop, I'll go and watch a YouTube video on it, how they take it apart, put it back together, how they shoot it. I get all the information on this weapon, but I made a video about my son and I held up his picture. That's when YouTube took me down. They removed my video for holding up my son's picture. They said it was a weapon. Now, what am I doing wrong holding up a picture of my son and they think it's a weapon? But yet, there is literally, I would guess, millions of videos about weapons on YouTube. They don't take those down. But if John Kennedy Jr. holds a picture of his son sharing his son's story, they took it down. So 2 days ago, I appealed it. Um, I haven't heard anything yet. And then another example, TikTok. They removed my account. 45,000 followers. I was getting so many followers, they must have been paid off, didn't want my story out. So I started a new channel. Robin made a video of me driving down the road. I was just sitting there talking, no harm done. They gave me a warning strike, took it down for misinformation. Well, they've been giving me a warning strike on the same video over and over for the same video. Warning strike, warning strike, warning strike. I went to my TikTok today, a big warning. It's like, how many warnings are they going to give me for the same video? Come on.
And you click on dispute, and they'll come right back immediately and say, "Oh, sorry, our decision stands." Ah, it's fun, isn't it?
But if people share my story and they hold up my book, they get a warning strike. Because the cabal, our media, the people in our government don't want this out. Jody Parmley, she's on Rumble and every other thing, but they took her off of TikTok. I enjoyed watching her TikTok videos, sharing my book. They took her out, they removed her. And this is why, because they don't want you people to know what's in this book. You know, it's huge, but they don't want you to know.
Right.
Everybody keeps getting, I mean, Henry's been taken down a couple times. I call them lions. Mojo. I think Mojo had to get a new phone because they took her down for sharing my story so she could share more. But there's so many lions on there, and they know, they start, wording it so they don't get kicked off. But
Right.
they're all so appreciated for sharing and keep going and going and going. But yeah, if they happen to see this, I'm on YouTube at John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. Join me there for now. We'll see how long that one lasts. But I am on YouTube also. But this is how they know my story's coming out. Months ago, when I started sharing, and I had 40,000 followers on TikTok. There was 5, 6, 7 fake accounts pop up of my story. They know it's going to come out. People know it's going to come out. So they removed me, put all these fake accounts up there, but it's coming out and they know it. They know it.
Yeah. Why go to the all right, let's just say you're scrolling through YouTube and you watch a video and you either don't like it or you don't believe what they're talking about. What do most people do? They exit
Go right
out
on.
and they move on to the next one or go about their day. They don't sit there and bash the the video creator. They're not arguing with people. Like most of us are just going to go on with our day. But yet they've taken great pains to argue, dispute, like just call names, censor, and take stuff down. Obviously, it's not a normal situation. They've got an agenda. They don't want this out.
Well, it's like I was watching you and Smarty on that video early this morning, late last night, whatever it was. And you guys were talking about that. And
Yeah.
I was like, because we're doing something right.
That's right.
We are doing something right. And that's why. So share, because we're right over the target. And they don't like it.
They don't like it. And as a matter of fact, stolen identity, we did talk about you and the book, but it is really a perfect name for so much that's happening in society. Like we're talking about kings and queens of, wherever. A lot of them have been replaced again. So there's control of the money. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how widespread this issue is.
I heard King talking in the video, and he said 4 kings somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you're the only king. There's only one king, and that's King Smarty.
That's right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, there's video of some kings in Antarctica that are they're old. They've been here a long time. So I think that's what he was talking about. Yeah, but
yeah, I seen a clip about something like that.
He is supreme commander, so he does have jurisdiction over all.
There sure is a lot of people interested in Antarctica lately.
Yeah.
Russia, China, and everybody else.
Yeah.
There's something going on.
Oh, definitely. And so basically what happened is a spaceship crashed there like something like 2 billion years ago. There were some dead, some in stasis, some alive. And, the Germans especially have been down there wreaking havoc. They've killed a lot of them. They're using their technology. So all of that's going to be coming out soon. It'll be pretty interesting. But yeah, there's a lot going on down there that we don't know about.
I'll never see it because I don't like the cold.
Well, what I've heard is that it's actually tropical there. Like we think
years ago, I moved from Pennsylvania,
yeah.
and I gave away my snow brushes and my windshield scrapers,
Yeah.
and moved to California and said never again.
Yeah. I went we get snow in Sedona, right? So 3 years ago, I go and I said, where do we get snow brushes? They were like, what? So I had to go to 3 or 4 stores and I had to call it an ice scraper. So I bought an ice scraper, not a snow brush. Same thing. But yeah, because we got snow there. But yeah, it's supposedly tropical in Antarctica. And it's going to be interesting to see the real truth, isn't it? Of the whole world.
A lot of people are interested in that I've seen on TikTok and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, so he always references your book and he's looking forward to having you come down to visit and
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. So it's gonna be good.
Someday.
Yep. So we were talking the other day about oh my golly, Jim Jones and the Kool-Aid incident, how it really wasn't what it was, it had been presented to the public as. right? We're told that they were crazed cultists, right? That killed themselves, right? So then we got questions about the Oklahoma City bombing. All right, so I think that that was an inside job too. Okay, I don't think it's what we were presented. Do you know anything about that?
Oh yeah,
All right.
I know the story. I know the truth. I talked with Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah, I think we had talked about that a couple times.
Yeah,
And
it seems like I was always taken around when the government had their fingers in stuff they didn't want to get caught into
yeah,
doing.
yeah,
The cabal is so powerful, so huge. They don't. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, as far as 9/11, Oklahoma City, it's all cabal.
right, right. But we
But
know
yeah,
that. Yeah,
if you want to talk about Oklahoma City, just in short, Timothy McVeigh told me federal government agents. My family, my loved ones, my sister, my mother was killed by federal government agents. I'm a personal eyewitness to my sister being beat to death, to my mother being shot 3 times. I'm a personal eyewitness. I have to live with those images in my head every time I talk about this. I talked with Timothy McVeigh. Timothy McVeigh told me the FBI were telling him to commit murders he didn't want to commit. Timothy McVeigh was being used by these FBI to kill people.
right.
He was fed up. He didn't want to kill people for the FBI. So they planned this big bomb, and Timothy McVeigh, his exact words, said, I'll kill them all and let God sort them out. I wish he wouldn't have done that. He could have been a little more pinpoint and not took innocence with what he did. So I don't agree with what he did, but I'm telling what he did it and why he did
Yeah,
what he did.
yeah,
He was put into a corner. These people are very powerful. They would have killed him if he would have spoke out, if he wouldn't have done what he did. If he said, no, I'm not going to kill my loved ones or these family members or whoever they were telling him to kill, he would have been killed by these people. They would have took him out. So his thing was, I'm going to take them out in one big bang and save my life and my family's life. And that's what they don't put on the news.
right.
He was put in a position, live or die, and he made a bomb and said, I'm going to take them all out. The only problem is they're bigger than Timothy McVeigh's bomb.
Right.
He didn't take enough of them out.
Yeah.
And
And
that came from me.
they're not in one location anyway. But he
Yeah.
was trying to make a statement, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, he was hoping to take them all out, but
yeah. Interesting.
innocent people lost their lives,
Yeah,
just like Waco,
yeah,
just like these other Calaveras County murder. Innocent people die at these people's hands because they try to get so powerful,
yeah,
trying to build their army of evil where they can get people to commit murders for them, like Timothy McVeigh.
yeah,
And then they put them in a position, kill or be killed,
right.
straight up. And what's more important to anyone in this world is our lives. Once you have that person's life by the balls and can control their life, say you're going to do this or you're going to die. People do what they have to stay alive.
Yeah. It's hard for most of us to understand because we haven't been put in those positions, which is awesome. But yeah, they have the family members, they have leverage over you. You have to comply. It wouldn't be a good position to be in.
I have been put in that position in my life so
Yeah,
many times.
yeah,
I don't know if it was you where I was sharing the story of Wayne saying he put the weapon in somebody's mouth.
yeah,
Okay, so that story of you're either going to prison for murder that you didn't commit, or You go to the FBI that killed your family and see what they say. You try to cover your ass. But I was put in the position, and when you're put in that position, and Wayne had a lot of control over me. He really did. If Wayne said jump off a cliff, I would jump off the cliff because I knew if you didn't jump off the cliff, what's coming. One time, I don't know if you've ever familiar, I don't know what game they call it, but you put your hand on a table like this flat. And then one person gets a knife and they stab it between your fingers like this, back and forth. Wayne had me stick my hand on the table, and he had this guy, I've never seen him before. He pulled out his knife and he started going like this. And Wayne said, faster, faster, faster. Wayne kept telling him faster. And by what I understood, if that guy would have cut me, he would have been dead.
Oh. Yeah.
That was the game.
So
if that man would have hurt me and harmed me in any way, Wayne would have killed him right then and there, probably. But he didn't cut me. And when that was all done and said, Wayne looked at him and said, "You'll get your loan."
So it was a test for the man that did that.
It was a test for all of us to see if I could sit there while somebody was going to cut my finger off. Yeah. But, you know, I still don't know all the answers. And after that, I didn't say, "What are you talking about, Wayne? Please explain." I just said, "Okay, I'm going to go home now."
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
But that's, you know, because, you know, when I was growing up and things, if somebody tried to harm me, they would be done with. But it's almost like it turned into a game. You harm him, you'll be killed. So you better get it right. And then he didn't harm me, so he got paid.
Okay.
It's funny at the top, but that's a good example.
Yeah, that's a very psychological game in a way. Like you know, like the person's nervous and they're doing this, and there's a lot of a lot at stake here, right? Life or death, and then he gets rewarded if he successfully completes the game, if you will. Yeah, I think that's called Mumbley-peg. I think that's what it's called.
Mumbley-peg? No. Mumbley-peg, I played that when I was a kid. You get a knife or a screwdriver and you get on the grass, but usually a knife, and you throw it by that person's foot and it sticks in the ground. And if it's stuck in the ground, you had to pull the knife out and put your foot where it landed. And then you would throw it back at the other person and stick it in the ground. And I don't really remember the game too much. I was pretty young, but I think that was Mumbley-peg.
Yeah. Yeah. Who makes these games up?
Kids. Kids sitting around and have nothing better to do.
Got nothing to do. Hey, let's see if we can stab our friends. Yeah. Wow.
I remember learning to play Battleship on a picnic table. I think it was my cousins or something that were there. But when Battleship first came out, I mean, right when it first came out, I don't remember the year, I was sitting there trying to learn how to play the game, and they were showing me how to play the game. The only problem is they were looking at my battleship where my ships were, and then they were going over and telling my cousin exactly where my ships were. So I was always losing. It was like, how come you keep hitting my ships all boom, boom, boom?
Yeah.
Cheaters.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
One thing I do remember very clear: jealousy among family. When I was young, we were sitting on a corral, and my cousins, I still don't even know who they are to this day because we got all separated. Some of them probably lost their lives in this war. But I was probably only 3. My father was still president. And I remember my cousins, the other children, they didn't like my dad. And they were telling me they didn't like my dad because they were saying, how come my dad isn't president and yours is? But I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. They weren't happy that their family member became president. They were mad because their daddy wasn't president. So I learned at a very young age that there's hate within the family and jealousy within the family. They should have been so happy to be a part of the family that there was a president and they could have went to him for help, but they were jealous inside and they were kids. They were little kids and their family members didn't explain that to them, or they learned it from their family members talking behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it's something I won't ever forget. I learned it so young. The hatred there, just because one of your family members does good.
I gotta think it's something they heard at home. Their parents talking, they hear them, they overhear them, and then they take on the attitude because a little kid really doesn't get it. There's a certain level that they do, but
Yeah, as I've grown up, I totally agree with you. They probably
Yeah.
were sitting at the dinner table, and mom and dad were like, "That prick became president, and look at us. We're struggling on what we're gonna eat tonight."
Yeah. Or, it is jealousy. They've got whatever they've got, but they want more. Everyone wants more, right? And yeah. And you know what? Jealousy is prevalent everywhere. Everywhere. It's kind of crazy. Like we all have, like theoretically, we all start with the even playing field, which is not true, but that's the way we're going to say it here. We all have opportunity to make ourselves better, to better our position, to do this and that. Again, a lot of obstacles and censorship and handicap now, but you can learn things. Like the internet has an infinite amount of knowledge there. Some true, some not true, but you can make yourself better in many ways. But people want to sit around and complain about what they don't have. They're jealous
Yeah.
of other people,
I got Robin bought me a truck. Bless her heart. It is a 2001 model, so it's 23 years old,
Yeah.
but it's the nicest truck I have ever owned. And I want it nice. And Robin keeps getting mad at me because I want to buy this and put on it or buy that and put on it. She's like, don't make it a money pit, but
Yeah.
I've been out polishing it because it's the nicest truck I want it beautiful. I want to, show the world that I take care of things.
Yeah.
But I've been out polishing it and I was polishing it yesterday morning. And I was like, this is the nicest truck I've ever had. But I can't take it with me when I go. And if I was in the hospital dying, it wouldn't mean a thing. It would just be a possession. I can't take it when I go. Why I think about those things, I don't know. Maybe it's to put me in check with my attitude so I don't get high on the hog and say, look at my badass truck. I don't know. But I just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
I like nice things. I like to take care of things and make them better than they were when I got them.
Yeah.
And hopefully when I'm gone, somebody will have something better than
Right.
what I have.
Right. Possessions are with us for a short term, but relationships, memories of really how you treated people, how they treated you, the interaction you had, that's what you take with you, right?
But with that said, I did an interview, um, The Missing Link with Jesse Hall. Shout out to him. He's interviewed me 3 times. The Missing Link, Jesse Hall, but he gets a lot of haters on comments. When I got my disability, they paid me $9,000, and they really put the screw into me because that was like 12 years back pay. They did not pay me for it, but they sent me $9,000 because they screwed me over and over and over and over again. But anyway, they sent me, and that was a lot of money. And I always wanted a Harley since I was young. Elvis Presley gave me a Harley Davidson that sat at the Hells Angels Clubhouse. I never saw it again. Never saw it again. It's probably worth a fortune to this day. It's probably all in parts and every other thing. People probably didn't realize it was Elvis Presley's Harley. But ever since then, I wanted a Harley. When I got the patch on my back for the Hells Angels, I was on a Harley Davidson. I went to this gal's house and she gave me my jacket. I was told, because it was in 2 o'clock in the morning, I was told I had to be quiet. I couldn't rev up the motorbike. I woke everybody up in that neighborhood. I was so happy. I was just right up the highway. But I always wanted a Harley after that. So I got that money. I went and got me the nicest Harley I've ever owned. It's beautiful. I spent all my money on it, but I got it. I've been out polishing it all the time. It's too hot here to really ride it right now, but somebody made a comment on Jesse Hall's thing. Well, why don't you sell your Harley? I just bought the Harley. Why would I want to sell it? And another thing, I'm John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. They stole billions of dollars from me. I should be able to go to any Harley Davidson dealership and buy a brand new one right off the floor, people. I can't do that, but I should never have to sell my Harley. I should actually have these people that stole them from me give them back to me.
Right.
So just a shout out for comments like that. People don't realize the billions of dollars these people stole from me, what they owe me. I mean, so many people stole millions and millions of dollars from me. It's crazy.
Yeah.
My career, my Hollywood career, I never got a dime from my Hollywood career. And I was in so many shows and movies. I was taught by so many great artists, Pablo Picasso, Mark Chagall. When I was young, Jackie was paying these people big amounts of money so I would have a career as an artist. There's that other artist I was sitting next to in a picture. Huge. These people that I was sitting next to as a child, their artwork sells for millions and millions of dollars. And they schooled me a little bit, just a little bit. But just think about the money I lost with them stealing my identity, being taught by Pablo Picasso. How many people can say they were taught by Mark Chagall? For real. That right there, that schooling would have set me off in the art world, but it was all stolen. People don't recognize it. I don't think they even recognize John George that stole my identity for all those art careers. Instead, they made him a lawyer, a DA, and everything to this day that man has ever done. And I'm telling you, government, I'm telling you, people in the Senate, Congress, on the Hill, it is all bullshit. Anything these Kennedys have done, Caroline Kennedy, the ambassador to Japan, the ambassador to Australia, need to be thrown out because they are imposters. They have stolen my loved one's identity, became lawyers, and made legal decisions, and they all need to be thrown out.
Right.
They're so huge. That's why they keep covering up the stories, because it's people like Donald Trump, the president of the United States, that the cabal have put in power to make decisions, and they're not even who they say they are. They're people that they're the organized crime that steal people's identity, steal their lives, steal their careers, and make billions of dollars doing it. And it all needs to be thrown out. And I think the people need to demand answers to what I just said, because there's so many decisions these presidents have made, and every single one of these legislations they have signed are not legitimate in any way, shape, or form. And it's huge. That's why we're being hindered. That's why we're being blocked. That's why we're being shadow banned. And you're not going to hear this on Fox News. You are not going to hear it from Sean Hannity on Fox News, my school chum that knows this story, and they're paying him millions and millions of dollars not to share the truth.
Yeah, you went to school with him, so he knows that you know, you kind of disappeared and somebody else kind of appeared at school. But yeah, it is fraudulent, in my opinion, for a president or a person to promote themselves as one thing and they're the opposite or whatever. It's, you know, and it may or may not make a difference, but why hide it? I wonder. Why would you hide that? Well, because there's an agenda.
And
There's
they're all in
an
on it.
agenda.
They're all in on it. The cabal have been putting these senators in place, these congressmen in place. They've been paid off, but they start them young. They start them young, and they're so big at what they do, such a big crime family. They get them young, they raise
Yeah.
them, and then they put them in power, in places in power. So now our news media is a regime from these people. They've worked on it for 50 years. My father said there's a plan to enslave us all, and he wanted to expose that plan. They killed my father for trying to expose that plan. My father said he will splinter the CIA. They killed him for that. My father was a good man. He wanted to let the American people, we the people, run the show, not the CIA, the Secret Service, the FBI, the people in our government, the billionaires in the suits eating champagne, eating caviar and
Right.
running the show. We have turned into one big regime and we don't have a voice anymore.
Right.
And hopefully we can break the ice and get it out. And Sue, I appreciate you so very much. I really do.
Thank you. Well, I was just going to say, you know, and I'm grateful that you're telling the story. So grateful because it needs to come out. But what I was going to say is that it just went out of my mind. I hate that when it happens.
That happens to me all the time. I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
Can't be with you, but it's aged with me.
Hey, look, a chicken. I get easily distracted and then the thought is gone. But like I said, it was fraudulent. So we said that. There's an agenda. It'll come back to me. But yeah, it'll come back to me. But
It's all beautiful.
yeah. But yeah, there's always an agenda. And you know, usually it's money, control, power. But they keep the people, all right, the guys in power have kept the population stupid. They've dumbed us down, okay? We're not allowed to know anything. But then because we're so stupid, they think they have to control us because they know the bigger picture, right? They're the ones creating the stupidity that we're not educated, right? They're controlling the curriculum. They're controlling what's out there, clearly.
Oh, so bad
Yeah,
in so many
yeah.
ways.
And yeah, they think we're too stupid to control our own lives, our own money, our own welfare, our own health, whatever it is. We have law upon law upon law, crazy stuff. Like I think we were talking the other day about, you know, do not put this plastic bag over your head. Okay. Like, all right, maybe somebody did that and they ended up dead. Okay, way back when. But most of us kind of already know that. We know not to do
I've
that.
actually, in some of my torture, I've had a trash bag put over my head, and it's not fun,
Oh,
especially when your arms are tied behind your back. You can't breathe.
oh,
But that's just some of the things that
oh, oh
that's
no.
that's why I brought that up. But yeah, like a warning on a ladder, or
Yeah.
this coffee's hot, like
Or
you said.
don't microwave your food because it might get hot. Like, hello, we know that, right? But
Whatever happened to the warning stickers
on
on the microwaves? When microwaves first came out, I would go to the mini mart and get one of those sandwiches. You put it in the microwave and you hit go. But right there on the microwave, it says if you're pregnant or whatever, don't use this device. Maybe they fixed that problem. I don't know, but I remember that
no,
warning sticker on those when I was young.
no. I haven't used a microwave in 20 or 30 years. All right, like when they first came out, how excited were we? Oh my God, look at our food's hot in 1 minute. Well, it's radiation. It kills all the life force energy in your food. It's very bad for you. So most places have a microwave built in. I use mine for spice storage.
I use mine every once in a great while, but yeah, it works
Yeah,
really good for the quickie. But
yeah,
you think of, they actually have microwave weapons out there, and what they do is they destroy your mind. You know, I remember as a kid, driving around and seeing these people talking to themselves walking down the road. It's worse now, though. Every time I go through the city, I see people talking to themselves and carry on a conversation, but you wonder why.
yeah. Well, they might have an earpiece in, haha, but
That's what
joking.
Robin said. I always had a joke when I was young. You'd see somebody talking, walking down the street, talking to themselves, and somebody say, "Hey, look at this guy," talking to himself. And I was like, he's not talking to himself. He's talking to a guy on the other side of the block that's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think I came up with that before cell phones came out.
Yeah. I remember a few years ago, I said to my mother, like is society different than it was way back when? Like we seem to have so many homeless people and like we'll call them mentally unstable people on the streets. And she said, yeah, way back when we have orphanages, we had, places, like homes, if you will, for people to go if they were mentally unstable or whatever. They've done away with it. So now the responsibility is on the families, and then these people are out on the street. No one has money, and it's the problem is just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, with the cabal and control of our government, I always think what their possibilities could do.
Yeah,
Years ago, you would see um, the the media would actually expose what's being done with the power lines and the people living. If you
yeah,
lived under great big massive power lines, they were
mm,
saying, "Hey, these people are getting cancer and every other thing." They don't share any of that now that I know, but I don't watch the news. But then I see the cell phone towers that they're, 3 or 4 in every little town now. But you see these dishes, these satellite dishes on there, and it's like, what are they actually doing? What could they possibly do? Could they send out subliminal messages? Could they actually get people to walk around talking to themselves? Could they make people stupid? Because it's all about control of us as
right,
people. It's
right,
all about enslaving us to keep paying them so they can keep doing. We
right.
are a commodity. That's why child trafficking and everything else. And another thing I was thinking about, um, what's actually really being done. You see these tunnels from Mexico across the border, and they'll do an interview, a little news podcast about how they found a new tunnel. Then they'll show some cocaine in that tunnel, some pot in that tunnel. But are those tunnels really being used for? They had a tunnel that went to El Chapo's jail cell. Come on now, people. All the way to the prison. And when El Chapo was being charged, if you're familiar with El Chapo, the big drug dealer, when he was in court, he said, "But I'm not El Chapo." He was telling the judge, "I'm not who you think I am. I'm just some Mexican sitting here getting charged for life in prison." But what are those actually being used for? The possibilities are endless. They'll discover one and say, "Oh, we made a big discovery of this tunnel," and they have you know high speed rail in these things where they could fill them up. And you know what are they? Are they being used for child trafficking, for slave labor? There's all kinds of positive, but more than
Yeah,
sending cocaine in.
yeah. Well, you're seeing evidence come out now where there's tunnels under the hotels, there's false walls or whatever, like there's tunnels in back of some of the hotel rooms. So, yeah, what do they need those for? I wonder.
Yeah, when I was under MK Ultra, We were actually at a motel, and the mirror in the motel, it actually was a door, and it would go into the next room. So I've always been leery after I learned
Yeah.
that they'll put you under MK Ultra, and then they'll come through the mirror into your room and program you. I've seen that done, and it is so scary because you think of all these things that they can do with MK Ultra.
Yeah.
They can make a shooter. They fall asleep, they put them under MK Ultra, and they come through, and then they program you. Shut the door, you wake up, you're programmed. You never even knew it.
Yeah. Well, that's a real thing.
Because
That
you
is,
got to remember, the billionaires are
yeah,
in control of everything. The
yeah,
media, these, Holiday Inns, on and on and on. They own these chains. These rich people, they can do whatever they want. I learned when I was young the motel and how organized crime works. I would go check into a motel, and I would get my key. I would go into the room, and then I would check out. I wouldn't turn in my key. I would lose the $10 key fee or whatever it was, but I put the key in my pocket, and I would go sleep in my car and just see who showed up at the motel, or I'd just drive away. I never,
right.
I learned that kind of stuff being, trying to stay alive as John Kennedy. I spent a lot of money trying to stay alive as John Kennedy, just like I was saying in my last interview with you, how I had to destroy all those weapons. It's not cheap. When I was in Pennsylvania and that woman tried to take my life and have me killed, they destroyed the city, destroyed my weapon. We'll let you go, John or Dave, but we're going to destroy your weapon. Well, I had to go buy a new weapon the day they let me out of jail. They dismissed all the charges because they realized it was a big setup. Somebody made a phone call, said, you need to let John Kennedy out of prison. But they actually put me in prison for someone trying to kill me. And then they destroyed my weapon that kept me safe. Hey, I just went out and bought a new one.
Wow. I wonder if they really destroyed it or if they kept it. You know what I mean?
Well, I believe it was a murder weapon. And this is what I believe. And it was a setup, so they destroyed it themselves. They got rid of the evidence. But that was part of the deal.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I won't mention where I got the weapon from,
Okay.
but I do believe it was a murder weapon.
Okay.
But yeah, the things they do like that, there's so much spin.
Yeah.
How do we get this weapon off the streets? How do we get it off the street? We'll destroy it ourselves. They come, they arrest me, they take my weapons, they destroy my weapons. Murder evidence gone.
Right.
Go away, John.
Wow. Wow. Very deep stuff.
It is. It really gets deep. It really
Very
does.
deep. Wow. Yeah, the tunnel thing is real. Yeah, and like you probably saw the evidence of maybe 3 or 4 months ago, they uncovered a tunnel in a synagogue in New York City. I think it might have been Brooklyn.
I saw, this was when it came out, I saw the people rioting in this synagogue and wanting answers for the child trafficking or whatever was being
Yeah.
done there.
Yeah. And while the police were there, like uncovering the evidence, the Hasidics that were there, they were all present. All right. What are they doing present at a crime scene? Don't you find that odd? Then they cemented it up like the next day, which again, what you want to know really what was going on. Of course, we know what's going on, but the general
Yeah.
population, yeah, ugly. Yeah.
Well, they're all trying to build themselves up in the world of the cabal,
Yes, that's what it is.
and they use children.
Yeah.
I'm a personal eyewitness, whether it's the Catholics or whoever. It goes all the way to our military. They use the children, just like me when I was in school in New York. with John, my stepbrother that stole my identity, with Sean Hannity and these other members. They get us while we're young. They teach us, they mold us, and then they put us in all these positions around the
Right.
world to do their works for them. And that's how they do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, you're impressionable at that age. You don't know any better. You listen.
You do what you're told.
You do it. Yeah.
What
You're
you're
just
told.
a little kid, and that's why having a good, stable parent is so important. But yeah, sad. It's really sad. So, well, I feel like we could be at a good breaking point for today. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
My bumper sticker one more time.
All right. Yeah. All right.
This
So
is
that
going on.
website.
This is going on my truck, but pay attention to these ears, people, because this is proof 100%. And this is just a tiny bit. If you go to this website right there, you'll see the handwriting experts. I don't think they have the facial recognition. They might, but
Yeah.
I hope they add it. But this is the man that you knew, Mr. Pretty Boy, George Magazine. And this is me as a child. Compare the ears. Compare ears, and I'm exposing what's going on.
Right. Right.
They are taking over our government with identity theft. Donald Trump is at the head of it, and many, many others. But it's right there for you to wake up
Right.
to.
Right. All right. I'm going to put the link to that website in the description as well.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everything. So tomorrow at 8 is Dr. Kia Pruitt on Rumble, right?
That's
And
tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time at nighttime.
yeah.
And
And
I
then
hope you all join and subscribe to her channel. They're
yeah.
hindering us. So let's all subscribe. And Tuesday with Sue, share, share, share.
Yeah.
There's more to come every week.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to get the story out, everybody. And we've talked about that, they get the gist, I think. So thank you all for your support and help. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you, Lions, so very much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then you have an interview Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern with Bill Messer on Facebook. And it's more of a Q&A type of thing.
Yeah. I'm sending it. I wanted to send him my book yesterday, and I got tied up, and I looked at the clock. It was already 5 o'clock. So I got to do that so he'll have my book to read, and he'll
Yeah.
get to know me a little better. But he's wanting to share my story. So yeah, check out Bill.
Yeah.
Seems like a really way cool guy.
All right, cool. Well, thank you as usual for your time and for telling your stories and for, again, repeating the stories and having the strength and courage to get out there with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue, so much.
Yep. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.